We need a symbol that can unite us.
Wait for it.
Save some for us, Cap.
Captain America.
You and I haven't always agreed.
In the past.
We're on different sides.
But work with me, Sam.
The country needs this. You tore the Avengers apart.
But I've changed. Really changed.
Let's go.
Captain America caught in a trap.
All my descendants, they know me by sleep and say I am too real.
You want me? Come and get me!
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Marvel released a bunch more Captain America Brave New World trailer footage with a bunch more Easter eggs, more talk about the new Avengers. I know this is going to tie into Thunderbolts with Dark Avengers stuff. We'll explain what's going on with that. And some more of Captain America's fight with Red Hulk. So if you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. I know there's all kinds of questions about how Anthony Mackie is going to stop Red Hulk if he's so underpowered, he doesn't have the super soldier serum. Well, there's a new report about what's going on with the movie that might have something to do with that, with Marvel pulling a very Marvel kind of trick. But it sounds like Thunderbolt Ross is only going to be in Red Hulk form in the movie for like less than 10 minutes, maybe like 5 minutes of the movie. Basically, Red Hulk is barely going to be in the movie compared to like the entire runtime of the film. Personally, I'm not super surprised by this. That's also one of the ways that Marvel keeps their budget down, because anytime any version of the Hulk is on screen, it drives their special effects, their visual effects budget way up through the roof. None of their Hulk stuff can be practical like a lot of the other effects. Like they could build a physical suit, but you can't build a physical Hulk that looks as good as this digital version of Hulk. And I know a ton of people have been asking about Anthony Mackie's Captain America getting a super soldier serum so that he can be like Steve Rogers' Captain America or Bucky or any of the other super soldiers in the MCU, because there are many super soldiers now in the MCU. Most of them are going to be in the Thunderbolts movie together on a team.
What kind of super serum did you get?
I don't know, regular. Hydra.
Hydra? Oh, fancy.
Personally, I do not think that he is ever going to get any super soldier serum of any kind at any point during any of the Marvel movies, and that's kind of the whole point of the character, is that he's an underpowered Captain America trying to fight against these other god-tier powerful characters. I think that's also why they keep including that scene during the trailers of Thunderbolt Ross telling him, "You're no Steve Rogers, don't try to be one." And Sam Wilson pauses for a second and then says, "You're right, I'm not Steve Rogers." All because he's probably never going to become a super soldier like Steve Rogers was. So his version of Captain America, like the Anthony Mackie Captain America, will feel completely different from Steve Rogers' Captain America. We will actually see a version of Steve Rogers coming back as another version of Captain America during Avengers 5 Doomsday, but it's going to be a very dark, very evil version of Captain America. Hopefully they will pay off the on your left scenes that they keep doing in all the movies since Avengers Endgame with him showing up with an on your left but then trying to kill Anthony Mackie's Captain America. Like that's the whole twist, on your left but I'm also coming to kill you because I'm on this evil Avengers team with Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom. Speaking of which, if you missed it, most of the original Avengers, if not all of them, are coming back for Avengers 5 Doomsday, but as different versions of the characters. Not sure completely how they're going to explain Scarlett Johansson coming back, if she's just going to be an evil version of Black Widow from another universe, or if it's going to be the MCU Black Widow coming back to life in some big twist. My assumption is it's going to be a multiverse character and they're not going to try and take back MCU 616 Natasha's sacrifice. That seems to be the way that Marvel is justifying bringing back all these original Avengers actors that either retired in real life or they died in the context of the movies inside the MCU. We've already started getting some previews for Avengers Doomsday because they're getting ready to shoot the movie really soon, and we're going to get the first trailer for that at the very end of the year, so I'll post some links to that down in the description below. But in a lot of this new footage, Thunderbolt Ross is going on about how they need to bridge the divide here, they need a symbol to unite them. What he's talking about is Anthony Mackie's version of Captain America in the context of his big speech here to all these people like on this big stage here. Then talks to him privately about putting a new Avengers team together, like, work with me, we need to put a new team together because the country needs this. All because when the movie picks up, ever since the end of Avengers Endgame, the Avengers have not existed as a team. They didn't really explain that too clearly in the previous Marvel movies, but there was no Avengers team when Falcon and Winter Soldier, for example, picked up, like they completely disbanded. There's still a couple original Avengers that are still around alive inside the MCU, still active, but there is no actual Avengers team. They all kind of went their separate ways. When Sam Wilson mentions that Thunderbolt Ross tore them apart in the first place, like, why would you want to put a new Avengers team together when you're the one that actually tore them apart? That's meant to be the events of Captain America's Civil War with the Sokovia Accords enforcing them to fight over everything that happened with Bucky. He's the person that started all that. Technically, Baron Zemo was to blame for actually tearing them apart, like it was his evil plan to drive them apart. But if you remember, Iron Man didn't want to go after Captain America after Bucky. He was willing to resolve that in a peaceful way. It was Thunderbolt Ross that forced them to arrest all those other Avengers that were rebelling against them. So I would say it is fair to put half of the blame on Thunderbolt Ross for all that. And a lot of this pushes into what's happening during the Thunderbolts movie with that version of the new Avengers, which is more like the Dark Avengers. But the way they're presenting Thunderbolt Ross here and all the trailer footage confirms some of my theories about the movie, like who the actual villain is and what's going on with all the Thunderbolt Ross Red Hulk and what's going to happen with him in the future. So a lot of the trailer footage has been hyping up Red Hulk versus Captain America, but in reality, Red Hulk isn't meant to be the actual villain of the movie, the way the trailers make it seem like he's the main villain of the movie. He's only supposed to be in the movie for like 10 minutes. The actual main villain is meant to be the leader from the Incredible Hulk movie played by Tim Blake Nelson. So on his wall here, like with his crazy Charlie Day meme chartboard, like his conspiracy board, he says, "Reset Ross, reset America." It sounds like Thunderbolt Ross, in the context of the movie, wants to use Anthony Mackie's Captain America to bring this divided nation together, like very real-world comp that they're making here in the movie. Bring together all these different warring factions inside the political landscape of America. In the way that Anthony Mackie has talked about Sam Wilson and Thunderbolt Ross's relationship when the movie picks up, they're actually pretty good buddies working together, like they're not butting heads or anything like that. So they're actually positioning Thunderbolt Ross at the beginning of the movie like he wants to be a good president and heal America, like he doesn't have any kind of evil plans or overarching scheme that he's trying to pull off on everyone. And it's actually the leader that tries to hijack what Thunderbolt Ross is doing, turning him into Red Hulk against his will and forcing him to lose control, trying to push the world into another world war. I've said this in previous videos, but I think the other comp to make here is the leader from the Incredible Hulk movie using the Hulk serum to push the world into another World War Hulk scenario, except the idea long-term in the MCU is multiple Hulks giving the Hulk serum to a bunch of other nations, so that you have a ton of Hulks popping up all over the world, creating a World War scenario. But the takeaway is that the MCU version of that long-term would be completely different from the comic book story. They kind of did the same thing with Captain America's Civil War, where it was very, very different from the comic book Marvel Civil War. But it looks like in a lot of this footage, you see way more of Red Hulk smashing the hell out of the White House. So RIP White House during this movie. Seems like he transforms into Red Hulk during this briefing outside and then proceeds to just destroy most of the White House in his initial transformation. Then it seems like Captain America realizes he has that new Black Panther ability where his wingsuit can absorb kinetic damage, turning it into energy damage they can give away as bursts like Black Panther suits because they're made out of vibranium nanites, and uses that to basically lead Red Hulk away from all the people so that he doesn't accidentally wind up killing a whole bunch of innocent people in collateral damage. Then I think the idea, if he's only going to be Red Hulk for like 5 or 10 minutes in the movie, when they're in this one-on-one fight separately away from all the people, he gives them the sun's getting real low, where he causes them to slowly transform back down to regular. So the whole idea is that he doesn't actually beat him in the actual fight, he just talks him down slowly. Like you don't beat one of the Hulks, you just slowly get him to stop fighting. Some of the other promos also used this for a funny bit where they showed off the new Black Panther suit abilities, including Dale from Ant-Man the Wasp movies in some of the marketing. All this new footage of the Japanese president tucking to Thunderbolt Ross, telling him not to push the Japanese military because they'll declare war on them for their actions, is because of what happens with the adamantium subplot in the movie, where they all wind up finding adamantium naturally occurring on Tiamat's body, the dead Celestial from the Eternals movie, bringing it back to the Eternals movie. Part of the idea in the movie is that the adamantium that he talks about at the briefing here, I think is part of the opening scenes of the movie where Captain America and the new version of Falcon here in his Falcon suit wind up stealing this refined adamantium from a Japanese dig site on Tiamat, and I think that's meant to be a comic book reference to the origin of adamantium bonding to people's skeletons and Wolverine stuff in the comics. In the comics, it was a Japanese scientist called Kenji Oyama who developed the process for bonding adamantium to skeletons, which led up to the eventual Weapon X Wolverine storyline. Then eventually the American military stole those secrets and tried to use them for their own personal gain. Eventually they made it to Weapon X and they bonded adamantium to Wolverine's skeleton, but that was actually in Canada, a completely separate offshoot of the Weapons Plus program. But the basic idea is that it started with the Japanese, then trickled down to America, then to Canada in Weapon X. So I think that's why they're including the Japanese subplot with adamantium in the MCU here. They're just starting the chain of custody of adamantium in the MCU with them because that's where it started in the comics. All to eventually lead up to an MCU version of Weapon X and an MCU version of Wolverine who is not Hugh Jackman's version. I did a video a while ago about how Marvel wants him to stick around for like the next 10 years worth of cameos and other big movies that they want to put him in. But I do think at some point, Kevin Feige will cast a brand new MCU Wolverine with a younger actor, and he'll just continue to be the main version of Wolverine going forward after that. So they're kind of laying the track work for MCU Wolverine with a lot of this adamantium subplot. But if there's any other new Easter eggs that you spotted in the brand new footage that I didn't talk about in the video, just write them below in the comments. The other real big reminder is that those new Spider-Man episodes from the Spider-Man series are going to start tomorrow night. My video for that will post Wednesday morning. Be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss any of that. Everybody click here for my brand new Superman trailer video, and click here for that brand new Thunderbolts trailer too. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.